So welcome everybody. This is Jan Stringer, and I'm very excited to be with you today because I think that love is in the air. I know that a lot has been showing up for me lately, and I have some personal love happening in my own life, and that's fun. Life is moving on for me since last year, as you know. My perfect love, Alan, he went on to a bigger assignment up in the sky and opened up a whole new world for me to explore called What Do I Want to Attract in terms of a perfect romantic partner. And it was very interesting timing that I got a call from Celeste because she had invited me to speak to her people, her class, on the strategic attraction plan around romantic partnership, which happened to be coincidentally, no accidents, right? That it was coinciding with me hopping on a brand new journey with Match.com just to explore and see what that was like. And little did I know that I would have a coffee date and then I would be teaching a class to Celeste's group 2 days later. And anyway, I think there's no accidents in the world, that we are all called at different times for different reasons, and that I certainly feel that it's my time to start bringing this portion of our strategic attraction planning process out more and more. So I'm really glad that you're here. You're part of that new beginning. And so in just a minute, we're going to do some introductions, but I wanted to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be focusing on for today. So in just a minute, when we open up for introductions, if you would say your name, where you live, and what would you like to get out of the class? We have this class and one more next in 2 weeks. And I would like you to write 2 goals. You can go ahead and get started with that now. So like your goal number 1 would be, what do you want to get out of today? You know, like today, you can start now. You don't have to wait till the class is over. You can start getting what you wanted today. So if you could wave your magic wand and have anything you want, even showing up almost like a miracle for you, what would that look like in the area of romantic partnership? And then your second goal would be, what would be something that you would like to get out of our class today, and you would see that by the next class, which is in 2 weeks. So I'll give you a minute to write, and so we'll do our introduction in just a minute. So in the strategic attraction planning process, some of you are old hat at it, and some of you are new hat at it. But regardless of that, I'm going to do an overview today, and just after our introductions, about the strategic attraction plan too. I know many of you were with me in December on that, and we slept since then. We've had all sorts of things happening, New Year's starting, holidays, etc. So we'll do a quick review so that if you're just getting on the call for the first time today, you'll know where we are picking up from. All right, so who'd like to do their introduction and get us started?
I can if you want. I'm Deborah.
Okay, thank you, Deborah.
Okay, my name is Deborah. I'm from Spain, but I live in Mexico City for the last 9 years. I did the class with Celeste. I couldn't join that day when you gave us the class, but I saw the recording. And I'm a passion test facilitator. And I would like to get more clarity today, and for the next sessions that we're going to have clarity in my relationship and in life in general. Every time I do the passion test, I get more clarity of myself every time I'm doing it with others. So yes, to get more clarity.
Okay. And are you in a relationship? Are you seeking one, or where are you in that area?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship right now. I did a lot of coffees and dating before I met my partner, and so now I'm ready to go to the next step in the relationship and to be more like a long-term relationship or soulmate, or we did a lot of coffees before,
Uh-huh.
and now it's going to be almost now it's going to be almost a year that we are together. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm yeah.
Okay, great, 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 great. All right. Thank you for getting us started. And so who wants to go next?
I will. This is Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
I want to find out what I'm not doing right. I've been probably on about 7 or 8, and I would not want anybody around me know this. I've been on 7 or 8 dating sites, and it's not that I'm not receiving. There's plenty that are looking for me, but that would be interested. But in their profile, I don't read the things that I'm looking for, and so therefore, and I've been told that I know 3 people that did find their soulmates on Match, and they said they had to look for 2 years or more. And so I've only been on these dating sites for about, a year to 18 months. And so it's become frustrating because there's only been about 2 or 3 times that I've connected with somebody that I thought, hey, this is a possibility for me. But it's almost immediately they ghost away. And so, you read all kinds of reasons and everything why that happens, because, you're thinking the conversation's going great and all this, but I need more clarity on maybe figuring out what I'm not doing right.
Okay. Very good. And just so everybody knows where you live, tell us a little bit about that.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Where do you live, Susan?
Oh, okay. I am from Oxford, Mississippi.
Okay, Oxford, Mississippi. All right. Great. All right. Well, I think you've come to the right place, and we can help you shift in the areas that would help you to start attracting and go to the next level in your dating. So glad you're here. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. Who wants to go next? Okay, Christina, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I just unmuted.
There you go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Boyano. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm very happy to be here. I am not currently in a relationship. I've been casually dating. I was casually dating somebody off and on for about the last year and a half. And a couple weeks ago, I just said, you know what? I'm ready to be done with this. I know it's blocking me from creating something deeper that I've really yearned for my whole life. So it was easy, smooth transition. Oh, that felt really good. And my big goal would be if I could wave a magic wand to meet a man that I really could create a committed lifetime romantic partnership with before our next class.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna wave a magic wand, right?
Okay. Let's see. I brought my magic wand.
Hey, okay.
Sprinkling the love.
You know?
I got my heart going.
I mean, and then get out of this class today. I'm 55. I've never liked dating. And so I know that that's a block in the stage that I'm at right now. So I'd love to get out of the class to feel excited and motivated to date and take attractive actions, like join an online dating site or go to, go out with friends more, where I might meet somebody, stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of today, is really to feel that, like, oh yeah, I really want to do that.
Yeah. right, I'm waving my wand on you.
It's here.
Okay.
It's coming down.
All right. Beautiful. All right. So in 2 weeks, you met the man of your dreams, and you're reporting great miracles.
Right.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Am I the only one that's left, or are there more
Let's
people
see.
on?
We have Victoria, and then you, Celeste. So whoever,
Okay.
Victoria or Celeste, whoever wants to go next.
You go, Victoria.
Let's see, Victoria. Let's see. I'm not hearing you at the moment. Reason I'm not hearing you. You're not muted on our system, but
I was hearing her, but not now.
can't hear you. Something
Okay,
got-
so how about I go until Victoria can fix whatever needs to be fixed?
Okay. Okay, super. Thank you, Celeste.
Okay, so I'm Celeste Perez, and I'm currently living in the Dominican Republic. My intention is to gain clarity of what I actually want in a relationship. I don't even know if I want one. And the second one is once I have that clarity, my goal is to take one action on that clarity.
Okay. And what would be the miracle goal for you? Put you on the spot.
Oh, wow.
What's your miracle goal? You know, like takes magic wand power to get that to happen.
That the person that I really, really want in a to be in a relationship with is available, and we can actually live together.
Okay. So your miracle goal is the real relationship shows up.
Yeah.
Okay. There's lots of relationships that aren't real. You know, they're kind of like,
Right.
you know, not really ready for the real relationship with commitment and all that. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay.
Okay. Victoria, are you tuned in yet?
I hope so.
There
Can you guys
you
hear
are.
me?
Yes. Hear you great.
Good. I got a headset.
Okay.
So I'm Victoria. I live in Denver. I've lived here for almost 40 years. I'm originally from New York City. I have a couple of businesses, and I'm loving my businesses and loving my family's here in Denver, and I get to see them often, and it's just beautiful. So that's about me. I guess my goal for today would be to get to know better the people that are in this class and to connect with them in a way that's meaningful. And then my longer term goal would be to figure out ways to connect with potential partners. Match and those dating sites in the past have not really been very helpful for me. The people that I've met haven't been good, haven't been a good match for me. They've given me a wealth of funny stories that I can tell at cocktail parties, which is something, right? So I'm at cocktail parties making funny stories. So maybe that's where I should go.
Not a bad idea.
You know, so I guess the longer term would be, my goal for last time would be to find another, connect and attract my perfect romantic partner in the next 30 days. That was on the 21st of December, so there's still a few more days left. That hasn't exactly happened yet, but I was feeling very energized around that goal. So we'll see.
So maybe to put some new energy around your new 30-day goal, you know, like, or give that one.
Right.
You know, because life happened after the 21st. You know, we had the holidays and travels and families and all of that.
I was gone. Yeah, I was gone for part of that time. And I started to write down to figure out ways to connect with others that would work for me, not match. And then I crossed it off because just because it didn't work a few years ago doesn't mean that it won't work now. The challenge is that I am actually turning 76 on Friday. And the people that are online that are close to my age really are not people that I energetically fit with, and they don't have the same energy that I do. So, so that's one of the downsides of Match. Although there might be somebody on there that would be interested in somebody older, but they're generally looking for people in their 50s or 60s or things like that. And instead of looking at the content, they look at the chronological age. So that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. And let me introduce Carrie, and then you can tell your version. But I wanted to let you know that Carrie is here, and not only is he the only guy in the class, obviously, he is here as he's in our Train the Trainer program for our Strategic Attraction Certification and Training program for business. And so he is here, and he's in twofold. One is kind of, if we had a back of the room, if we were in an actual seminar room, he might be sitting in the back of the room and holding space. So he's doing that in our virtual living room here. And he's also going to be leading our certification training of students. So we're just getting started with this, but I wanted to let you know that we also have a certification training program in March that will be starting that will be specific for attracting your perfect romantic partner. And the certification training program, Carrie's been through that, Victoria has, Christina has, and they can tell you about it for themselves. But a lot of people go through the certification training because they want to deepen their understanding for themselves, but they also want to use it in their work. So a lot of people do it for different reasons. So Celeste is going to be helping me kick off the Romantic Partners certification training in March. So I just wanted to do a little infomercial there in case anybody wants to know more about that. Carrie, anything else you want to add on?
Well, in terms of what you have mentioned, I live in Fairfield, Iowa, that Celeste knows. I am also a passion test facilitator, and I understand that there are a couple of people here who are also passion test facilitators. And so along with supporting Jan and my own goals in terms of being a transformational leader, what I wrote down as far as today's event is to basically strengthen the relationship with my wife, Colleen, that we have been married 27 years and 28 coming up in April. So that, and there's always, as the saying goes, there's always room for improvement. So keep that in mind when you want a long-term relationship, that it does take work. It's not going to be pie in the sky from the beginning, but there's always room for improvement.
And to that note, on our strategic attraction plan, we do focus a lot about when we're single or we're not in the relationship we want to be, or that we might want to be attracting someone new into our life. We kind of talk a lot about that, but there's a huge opportunity with strategic attraction planning once you are in the relationship to keep, as you said, making it interesting, keep the passion going, keep the relationship going to new levels. So, all right, anything else from anybody that wants to add on before we move on to the next piece? All right. Let's see. All right, so just I know most of you know who I am and all of that, and you've seen me around. And Trying to get, there I am. All right, I don't know. I'm having trouble with our little thing there. So anyway, I did write a book. Many of you have heard of it. 2 books. Attracting Perfect Customers is what got our business started. But it really the subtitle that I sometimes like to bring attention to: the power of strategic synchronicity. And because in that this book is written about business, there is a huge component around the whole thing that is really just about relationships. And so it doesn't really matter if you're trying to attract a business customer or a romantic relationship. There's one thing that I've found to be extremely valuable in the work that I do, is that this power of strategic synchronicity is where, when I get strategic, in other words, we're going to be doing an actual strategy today for attracting the perfect romantic partner into our lives. When I get strategic, and in other words, I have a plan. I know where I am. I know where I want to go. That's the plan. That's the strategy. And I'm clear and focused about that. Then what starts to happen are synchronicities. And synchronicity is kind of like kismet or serendipity, or just something that seemingly comes out of nowhere. But the reality is that what was not happening before that kept it from happening was that I didn't have my clear strategy about what I want and what I bring to the relationship. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, so that you can have more clarity and focus on what's perfect for you. So last piece, I did write a second book, which built on the first book, and the emphasis is that being is where we all need to start in attraction. Is that sometimes in romantic relationships, who we're being is actually what is the showstopper. And so we'll talk about that in just a minute as well. So a book is forthcoming. I'm declaring that the book is forthcoming. I have most of it started, laid out, and ready to go. I just need to get myself going on it. So that I just wanted to start speaking that into existence. And then ask you a question: are you looking for love? And anybody here looking for love?
I am.
See any hands raised? Okay. Well, sometimes when we're looking too hard. And so my goal today is that you stop looking and stop chasing, because it's time to start attracting. In this process that we're working on today, it's about using the law of attraction rather than going out and seeking what we want. It's better to use this law of attraction, that like attracts like, and this principle that I'm bringing to you today is the underpinning of success for the strategic attraction plan that we will be creating with each other today and through the next few weeks. So many of you said what you wanted today is to get more clarity, and so I like to say it this way. I like to say, what is perfect for me? Because in a perfect world, which there isn't, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about perfect people. I'm not talking about everything has to be exactly perfectly orchestrated before I will attract. I'm not talking about any of that. What I'm talking about is that you don't have to be one bit different than you are today. Nothing. You're perfect just the way you are. And so sometimes we need to get present to what is perfect about me. And I hope that you'll start to get some clarity today about that, because just remember, people want what you have. And when you're clear about what you bring to relationships, the perfect people will be drawn to you irresistibly. And that is something I've been proving for the last 17 years, not only in business, but also in romantic relationships. So clarity. The second thing is, yes, it can be a little bit brutal. We can have some hard, difficult experiences in attracting what we want, or maybe it's been a bumpy road for you. I will totally admit I've had a very bumpy road around relationship. If you looked, I'm not really into astrology in a very big way, but when I was given my first astrology chart, and there's 13, it's a circle divided into 13 houses. No, 7 houses, I think. And then there's 13 planets anyway. And wherever the planets lie in your house depends something about your future. Well, of the 13 planets, 7 of mine are in the 7th house of relationship. And when I saw that, I went, I don't have to know anything about astrology to tell you that I'm going to learn through relationship. And so I've had a lot of dating disasters, a few marriage disasters, and I have had also some successes. So one of the things that you're going to hopefully get today is the confidence to date and attract love again. And regardless of what's been happening in your past, we can put it behind us and start fresh today. And then our strategic attraction plan is that seedling. So we're planting seeds to get started today. And so on your piece of paper, write down today's date at the top, and I'll tell you what to do with that in just a minute. But today's your day. Everybody just write on a clean piece of paper today's date, which happens to be January 17th, 2018. Today's my day. You can even put that on your paper next to it. So in my books that are related to business, I talk about marketing, and my definition of marketing is the same as my definition of dating, is that they're really very, very similar in many ways, other than the kind of outcome, let's say. But dating is about building a relationship. So if you're building a relationship, who do you think is the most important person to build a relationship with first? Them or you? Me. That's right. Everybody's pointing their finger back at themselves. So we all know this to be true. Yet sometimes we think it's still out there, outside of us. But the reality is, however my relationship is going, however my dating is going, however my marriage is going, is a product of what's going on inside of me. All right, we'll let you chew on that thought for just a minute, and I'll bring it back around when we get into the strategic attraction. Before we start our strategic attraction plan, I want you to pick, where are you in your process? Some of you have said you've already got someone that you are interested in being with. So you may like to have a romantic partner that goes something like the perfect soulmate marriage or commitment partner. You may be ready for that. Somebody else might be listening and they haven't quite, really fully embraced the dating process yet. So they're more interested in a coffee, lunch, or dinner date. So you got to start somewhere. If you aren't actively dating right now, go with the coffee, lunch, or dinner date. But pick, what kind of romantic partner would you like, and write that down on your piece of paper. So let's hear from a couple of you. We talked about this in our December call, but who would like to just, share to the group what your type of romantic partnership is for this call, at least for this training? So I will start, okay? Because I had a what do you call it? An epiphanonymous that when I did my first strategic attraction plan, which is very great, it's right here. I may even share it with you if you ask for it. I'm happy to share it with you later. But when I first started on Match.com, which was around Thanksgiving, Alyssa mentioned that my husband, Alan, who I'd been married to we'd been together 13 years, we'd been married 10 years, he died in August. And it was quite suddenly. He had been ill, but really hadn't anticipated that it was going to come to an end on August 6th. And so I did, a lot of grieving and a lot of healing work to try to move forward as quickly as I could. And it was around Thanksgiving that I had an even bigger, just like my heart cracked open. And I felt like something big had kind of like been released. It was kind of painful, but at the same time, I let a lot of pain out and my heart got opened up. And I thought, it's time for me to consider, maybe I could get out there again. And maybe I could just, if I had coffee or someone to talk to or go on a lunch or a dinner with, that would be all I was interested in. So I played with the Match.com profile, which was an experiment for me. I hadn't done it before. And at that point, I wrote my first strategic attraction plan since the one I created Alan with. Alan was us all on paper before he and I got together, that 13 years ago. And then he manifested, and now I'm on to the next. So I created my attraction plan just like I'm going to share with you today. And I actually met somebody, and we've been exploring dating a little bit, and no commitments. There's really no commitment in that relationship yet, but I can see I've already did the coffee, lunch, and dinner date, and now I need to think about what's after that. So I'm kind of in the same boat as everybody. So who would like to share what your type of romantic partnership would be for you? What are you ready for? That's a good way to look at this. What are you ready for today? You don't have to speak for December of the end of the year. What are you ready for today? Let's start there.
I'll go.
Sure.
So what I'm ready for today is someone to do adventures with, like hiking or beach trips and just adventure trips. That's what I'm ready for.
Okay. Adventure trips. I love it. All right. And somebody else.
Mine is just where I'm at in this moment is coffee, lunch, or dinner date. Or I love what Celeste said, go do some fun things together, like go for walks and hikes and movies.
There you
go. So dating.
Yeah. That's a good place to be. Dating. Easy peasy, kind of, just anything goes, kind of light and breezy kind of relationships. All right, somebody else.
I would go. I agree with Christina. Everything she said.
Ditto on Christina. Okay. So dates.
And maybe somebody to play golf with.
Okay.
Somebody to play golf with.
All right. Great. And somebody else.
And work out with.
A workout partner. Yeah. And it doesn't all have to be one person. You could have one of each. I dated back in the day, way before I was married. I dated 5 people at one time, and no, I didn't sleep with all of them. But I did have somebody, that I did a movie with occasionally. I had somebody who liked to go to fine dining, and he would call and ask. And, I did stuff. So that's fun. Hi, Deborah. I see your picture now.
Hi. I moved to my phone because my computer, it was going on and off.
Okay.
So I see everything smaller now, but at least I can be connected.
Yay!
Yeah.
So what kind of romantic partner?
So you sharing now in the relationship that we want or we are in?
If you're in one
okay,
now.
Because I missed most of the...
Well, I was just saying, if you're in a relationship, are you married or do you want to be, or where is that relationship?
The relationship that I'm in now moved from having coffees and dinners together, for a few months to more commitment. We are not married, or we are not planning to get married for now, but we we share a lot of time together, and we travel together, and we do, I don't know, like a partner, no?
Right.
Yeah, like boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know how to say that. Yeah.
I know. I'm kind of
So it's
experiencing
fun.
that.
It's fun to be there right now. Yeah.
Yes.
To meeting his family, for him to meet soon my family, and we are in this stage right now.
Okay. Okay, good. One of the things that you might look at, if you are dating someone, it's not quite to we want to, married commitment or whatever. Look at it and what percentage are you giving to that commitment? Like 25%,
Okay.
50%. Look at it in terms of a percentage. Want some portion of 100%, 100% being I'm all in, or 25% is that's where I'm at right now. I can give 25%, and there's still 75% to go. So that might help. All right. So anybody else want to share what you are?
I couldn't hear the whole thing you were saying.
About the percentage, it's cutting in and out. Yeah. I'm not sure what to say. It's cutting in and out. Well, I'll say it one more time, that if you are in a relationship, you like gone beyond the coffee, lunch, or dinner day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Then look from what percent you're giving to that relationship. It's not 100% yet.
Okay.
But it might be 25%. It might be 50.
No, it's not 100 yet.
Not be 50, and just look at it from a percentage.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think it would be like 50 because we don't live together almost. We almost live together, but no, we didn't do that step yet.
Okay.
And we're not searching yet for creating a family, or I don't know. I see these things more like in the future. Okay. But for now, we're just having fun together. We seeing each other only us. We're, how to say this, not committed to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But still, still not thinking of marriage or living together.
Good. So now it's 50% right now, and that's where you're at.
Yeah, 50%.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. So, Susan, are you still with us? Would you like to share?
I'm still here.
Okay. Would you like to share what type of romantic partner?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm doing the passion test thing with Celeste, and we kind of came up last week what I was looking for in a soulmate. And I'm looking for a man where Christ is first in his life, that he will love me above all others, that he will have integrity and honesty. He'll be affectionate and passionate. We will love to laugh and have fun together. We will be fit and attracted and healthy-minded, and will communicate greatly.
Beautiful. So, but I heard the type of relationship you're looking for is a soulmate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't care about dating and all that kind of stuff. I'm ready to find the real one.
Yes. Okay, good. All right, so everybody's clear. Did everybody share? Kira, yours is marriage, I would assume. Don't mean to put words in your mouth. All right, so let's go on, because I want to cover all of this today. So Susan gave us a good start. We're going to start writing what we want. And if you've already written on your plan from previous call, I want you to now read what you've got and start to add to. And here's what the first part is the title for your attraction plan. Susan, I think this might be your first one, but my strategic attraction plan for attracting the perfect. And then fill in the blank, the type of relationship that you just shared. So,
Okay.
you know, like for Celeste, it would be an adventure partner, maybe you could call it. A dating coffee date partner, Christina. Victoria, kind of the same. Soulmate, marriage, commitment partner. And put today's date on it. And then step 1, right after that, Susan gave us a good example of how to start describing that perfect relationship. So step 1 of your strategic attraction plan, if you want to just write the title down, as it says here on the screen, I'll read it out loud though, is describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect romantic partner. And I wanted to invite you today to use a pen and piece of paper rather than a computer. I was learning, I was in a workshop over the weekend where some of this, we do a lot of goal writing in that particular area. And an example was given that in China, they use a long bamboo pen that you have to dip into ink and then write your goals out, write your list out. And the belief behind that is that if you're not willing to go to that extent to write out what you want, you don't really want it. And so while you may transfer this over to the computer later, I want you to write this plan like it's something you really want. I mean, like even if, I know none of us are dipping our pen into the ink, but just think about in the past, years ago, before we had all our technology, people used to put great thought into letter writing. Like that was a really important time to sit down and really write out beautifully with pen and ink what you want. And I'd like you to put that kind of thought, even though this is a fast-paced class, there may be some scribbling like mine is, but when the call is over, you might want to rewrite it and really put some soul into it, you know, put some thought into it. But so anyway, I just wanted to plant that as a seed of possibility. So step number 1, we're describing that perfect romantic partner. You know, if this perfect romantic partner walked in the room, would you recognize them? How would you know that was them? You know, if somebody walked in right now and you were like, oh, how would you know? That's your perfect romantic partner. So do some descriptions and then we'll share some. One of the things I always like, I was thinking about this, it's actually my former father-in-law, who I would have adopted as my father any day. He was just the sweetest man. And I always remembered that when he saw me, he greeted me with a smile. You know, and there was kind of a twinkle. So it doesn't have to be just a romantic person. There can be people in your life that demonstrate things that you want in your romantic partnerships. My grandkids, you know, hi Grammy, big hug, you know, I take that. I like that. So write down things that are important to you that you would like to be receiving from your romantic. And who's got a couple you'd like to share? Anybody?
Well, I'll get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Carrie.
And yes, it's the opposite in one side, but you can take it both ways. She takes a definite interest in me, and that's like a healthy interest. I don't mean it in the codependent kind of way. We have common interests, horseback riding, transcendental meditation, personal development. She supports my passions. We communicate clearly, and she is committed to the relationship as I am.
Beautiful. So for the next 2 weeks, your assignment is to add to this part of your plan every single day. So somebody tell me, what would it be like if you were adding to your plan of things that you want in your romantic partnership? What if you were on a true mission for the next 2 weeks to notice things in other people that you like and that you want more of, and that these are things you want in your romantic partnership? What would it be like if I put all of my attention there? Anybody?
Well, I would be aware everywhere I go of what I'm focusing on and what I'm seeing, and noticing, do I like it or do I not? What do I want to keep?
Yes.
You know, I'll notice couples, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll notice couples. You can't help but notice that when you're in the building relationship phase of this. What would you not be doing as much of if you were putting your attention on this list? What would you not be doing as much of?
Focusing on what you don't want.
Yes.
Complaining.
I mean, it's kind of a simple thing. If I am putting my attention on what I want more of, what's perfect for me, I'm putting more attention there, and I'm putting less attention on what I don't get. And we've all had experiences where we didn't get what we wanted in a relationship, whether it was something with a parent or something with a kid you had dated in high school. We've all got past experiences. But what will bring forward more of what you want is putting your attention on what is perfect for you, and less on the nots so much. One of the mistakes that happens after you've kind of been spurned and that's the right word, spurned in love, where you're like didn't get what you wanted, is to put a blanket statement that all men on Match.com are X, Y, and Z. All women on Match.com are such and such and so forth. And the experience was that you had an experience, maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was a week ago, maybe it was 5 years ago. But you aren't the same person today that you were when you were attracting before. And so you have to remember that when you step into the field of what we're creating here, something new is possible. So somebody give me a couple of other things you've got on your step number 1 that you can add to the list. Carrie got us a good start there. So what are a couple of things that you have on?
I have almost 2 pages because we started last month, but I just today, when I reviewed it, I added that we have similar tastes in music because music is really important to me. He's interesting to talk to, and he loves to have conversations with me. We have common interest. He has common interest to me as well as others that I find interesting. So, things I may not have an interest in yet, but when we talk about it, I find it interesting. And that he's financially secure.
Good. Very good. Anybody else want to add on something you've got in addition to what we've already heard? Is there, one of the things I like to think about, there's some things that are very important to me that are just deal killers. Like I also have that he believes in God. I want that as an important part of our relationship. I do Chinese energy medicine. I wouldn't even consider anybody that wasn't interested in that. I have some past things that I didn't have in a relationship that I definitely knew that I wanted and didn't get, and so I add that to my attraction plan. The other things that you want to put on step number 1 is where would you like them to meet you? We've already heard that sometimes places like Match.com are good sources, and sometimes it's not. But you need to come up with what would be the kind of interest. Maybe, like Victoria mentioned, maybe I meet them on a golf course. Something of mutual interest for you. My housekeeper this morning just got married to her perfect partner, and every Friday night they do salsa dancing together. They're good dance partners together. So what are your interests? And you put that. I noticed that even when I was hiking the other day, there was this whole group of people that were all hiking with these big, gigantic poodle dogs. You know, like, I mean, it was just like weird. Like this whole, like maybe 25 people are hiking with the same kind of major, large poodle. And they belong to a poodle club. I had to ask. I'm like, are y'all all in a poodle club or something? I never heard of that. So there's all sorts of meetup groups that, depending on your personal interests, might be good places to meet. So where would you like to meet your perfect person? Hiking groups. I've heard some people interested in going on adventures. Join a hiking group in your area. Or maybe they're, what other rafting or whatever sounds exciting. There's also travel groups. If you're interested in having partners, you could meet other people that like to travel and go on a trip or two. You may be, single, but it's good to go single on a trip because you're more awake and aware to who's around you. It's always great to go with another person, but it's also great to go single. I find when I travel by myself that I'm a little more friendly to other people in the airport or people sitting next to me on the airplane. So just really use step number 1 to expand what you want and what's perfect for you. And know that if you didn't do anything else on this attraction plan but step number 1 really thoroughly, it would be enough. Okay, I'm going to give you like the keys to the kingdom today with all 5 steps. But step number 1 is a very powerful step. All right. So step number
Jan, may I add something?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Basically, what I wanted to indicate was when you talk about adding to it each day, also the idea of looking over the list and refining. You may say, well, I want them to be wealthy, but what does that mean? Having adjectives, getting very descriptive, and you might be looking at something and saying, okay, can I pick this apart and get some deeper meaning, some greater clarity out of what you've actually written down?
Yes, absolutely. All right, any questions? I am moving on to step 2, but I want to make sure everybody's got step number 1 pretty thoroughly understood. Everybody got that? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so step number 2 is like a deeper dive into a relationship. And, if you're just in the dating phase, you may not have really connected with somebody on a deep level yet, but you want to know what's important to you such that when you do meet somebody, you're listening for particular evidence or words or experiences even or stories that they talk about that lets you know the two of you are on the same wavelength. Like in the strategic attraction plan is all about vibration. And so one of the things that happens when I start working with my strategic attraction plan is I'm creating a vibration. And if you listen to any of the Abraham Hicks kind of material, they talk about that all of us are emitting or sending a frequency. And so what happens is that if you're attracting people that are a good match for you, then you're sending out the right frequency of what's important to you. if you're not attracting the right kind of people, then the frequency you're sitting out needs some refinement, and that's where we will use step number 3 to clear that out. But step number 2 is what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what makes you, that's so important to you that if you don't have it, it's just not worth it. I'll share what makes me tick, and this is a statement. It's different from step 1 in that it's not a long list, but step number 2 is a statement. And I will work with you. Everybody on this call is eligible to have a complimentary laser coaching session with me. And I'm going to tell you how you can access that before the end of our call. And if you want to work on step number 2, that's always a good thing, because I can help you really get to the real juicy nugget part of yourself, and that's what your most significant relationships are drawn to anyway. So for me, what makes me tick is what I call the voice of the feminine spirits, and that may not mean anything to anybody else on this call, but it means something to me. That when I was really clear about what my true essence is that I bring to the party feminine spirit means to me is I bring a lot of creativity, a lot of intuition, flow. Things just, I help things to move along, flow easily. And when I'm in a relationship where I get to bring that forward, then I found in the guy that I'm with that brings their masculine energy forward. I also have a lot of masculine energy where I can get things accomplished, but my primary essence is around feminine energy. So step number 2 is an important part of getting to who you really are in every relationship. So how to get to your statements. A couple of things that I tell people is to look at when you're doing what you love to be doing, what's present for you. Not like what are you doing when you're doing it, but what's present. Meaning, what are you present to? When you're really in what you call the zone, maybe, what are you present to about yourself? These are the things that make you tick. And by virtue of the law of attraction, your partner ticks to the same thing or something similar or a match. Have you ever heard that opposites attract? Anybody heard that? Do you believe that's to be true? Opposites attract? You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I agree with that in business relationships, that it's a little different than romantic relationships. That in business relationships, I believe that like-minded people are attracted to each other, or like attracts like. In romantic relationships, I say where you are attracted to another person is around polarity. That's what, when people say opposites attract, what they say, what you're meaning in romantic relationship is a polarity. So my positive, your negative is like a magnet. That's what creates magnetic force. And what happens in long-term relationships is that we rub our magnet together so much that we depolarize. And sometimes we become too much of a masculine or too much of a feminine. And it really does boil down to creating more ways to keep your essence truly alive. Because it doesn't matter necessarily about gender. It matters more about your polarity. And so a woman, for example, can have a very masculine energy, and what's perfect for her is a man with a feminine energy. That's a polarity that attracts. And just conversely as well. So a man can be more masculine, and that draws a feminine energy. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? All right. So your
Yes,
homework,
yes.
between now and next class in 2 weeks is for you to create your own statement of what makes you and consequently your romantic partner too. All right. This is a lot of material and I may be covering it too fast, but I want to get all of the steps out and then we can start to work with them a little bit more, especially next time. So step number 3 is to specify what I want. Specify what I want, emphasis on I want, my perfect romantic partner to expect of me. And this is the part of the relationship that I bring to that relationship. Is that in every relationship, both of you have to bring something to the party. And in this part of our attraction plan, this is what I'm bringing. So when you start to answer this part of the plan, think about what really works in the relationships you're in right now or what has worked in the past. But also look at when you weren't getting what you wanted, what was missing. So I heard, well, Christina, would you mind working with me a little bit? Are you still here?
Yep. Sure.
There you are. I know you were saying that you let go of a relationship, I think, recently.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Jan, before you go into that, if you're not talking, it might be an idea to mute, and then it'll be clear for each of us.
Yeah, I hear some background noise, so everybody just mute your line except for Christine.
Yeah. Okay, where you go.
All right, thank you. But I think you were saying that you were in a relationship, you decided there were some things that you wanted that you weren't getting. So,
Yes.
now that you have that information, what is it that you want your perfect romantic partner to expect of you that you weren't bringing before?
That I'm really passionate about him.
Okay.
Like really, like he lights my fire. And I, be more interested in him.
Right.
Feel more than just great. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but would you say that that you were settling in some areas in that previous relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if that's the case, and it wasn't lighting your fire, or you were settling for that. So what you want your perfect romantic partner to expect of you, what do you want them to expect of you when something's not happening? Like they're not lighting your fire.
That I would shift that and I know a good one for that would be to engage more in my own passions.
Okay.
Is one thing.
Okay. So you're bringing, maybe if you attracted somebody that's, kind of low, no flame or no low flame, it's because your own flame wasn't so stoked, huh?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So
yeah,
not enough attraction factor going on.
So you weren't being too juicy, were you?
No, I really wasn't.
Okay. So that's what this part of the plan is about. Is looking. It really does help to look and see in our past experiences, or even in our current experience, where we're not getting what we want. To know that it's never about the other person. That the good news and the gooder news about step 3 is that if I'm attracting what I want in the relationship that I'm in, that's because it's going on inside of me. But if I'm not attracting what I want in the relationship, it's not going on inside of me. That's the other part. And the good news about that is that by recognizing what's not going on inside of me gives me access to have what I really want. So it's good news to discover, wow, I wasn't stoking my own juicy, hot life enough to attract someone that was hot and juicy too. This is the turning point of the whole strategic attraction plan. That in step number 3, we give up our right to complain that we're not getting what we want. So I've heard lots of people say, I'm not getting what I want from Match.com. All right. Why is that? Why am I not getting what I want? What's going on inside of me? It's an opportunity for me to look inside of me and say, wow, I was just judging everybody right and left. I wasn't really giving anybody a chance. I wasn't really interacting. I had that experience myself, and I noticed a hesitancy to even write back to people that were writing me. Am I actually building relationship with people through a process? If I were to actually bring that, what could happen? So what would you like to put on your attraction plan now, Christina, that might shift it for future relationships?
I wrote 2 things, and I loved when you said this, to be stoking my own juicy, passionate life.
Yes.
And to be engaged and experiencing and expressing my passions.
Right.
So to be in relationship with the things that I find that really help me feel passionate.
Right. Like what? Let's give a for instance. What's going to do that for you?
Drumming, music, dancing, learning new things about health, like, chiropractic, nutrition, I love learning. So learning new things is always fun for me. Having great conversations with friends, connecting with my family. There's lots of things, actually.
Okay, great. Very good. Thank you. Everybody give Christina a little hand for being our person today. And who else feels a stuckness or something around dating that you're having a hard time with? If you do, let me know. I'm up. You can unmute for a minute. So some of you mentioned in the beginning when you said what you wanted to get out of the call, you mentioned some of the places that were not happening for you. This is where we get it unstuck. So who wants to work with me a little bit?
Well, hey, Jan.
I will.
Oh, good. Okay, go.
Okay, let's see, Victoria, and then I'll work with you, Celeste. All right, Victoria, what would you like to unstick?
Well, I noticed that when guys come up to me, I look at them and I want to flee.
Like,
I don't want to. That's not really. Yeah. So it was like what you were talking about before, which was not being committed, or when you got emails from guys on the Match, you really kind of didn't want to respond to them. And it's almost like I'm in all these women's groups and I don't really interact all that much with men. When I do, they're really great guys and they're very easygoing. But at church sometimes when these guys come up to me, I kind of look them over and go, no, not talking to you today. and I don't, I mean, I'm not saying that out loud, but I'm sure that it comes across pretty obviously.
Yeah, it definitely does. So let's use step 3 to turn that around and see what could shift that for you. So specify what I want my perfect romantic partner to expect of me when I am around a guy. What what do I want them to expect of me when I am around men?
Well, I think they would want me to be present and to talk to them and, you know, be all those things that I wanted when they walked into the room, or how I, you know, like smile, you know, chat, be funny.
Yeah. So you could.
All
So
that stuff.
you'd want them to expect you to smile,
Show up fully.
show up, drop my cloak of invisibility, maybe. To
No, I don't mind that. I don't feel like I'm invisible at all.
So allow my. How about
I think I need
to allow my brilliance to show? Because you're amazing. I mean, you're an amazing, accomplished woman.
I think that I think there's this card in the Wish game. I don't know if anybody plays that game, but I do. And it says, kiss more frogs. And the card basically means is that when people show up that may not be exactly everything you wanted, to still be open, because frogs can turn into princes. And I think that I have to get over my initial, oh God, this is a frog. I mean, rather than running saying, oh, isn't this interesting? So to move into scientific curiosity would probably be, for me, would work.
Okay, so that's good. Move into research mode. I'm just gathering data about frogs.
Maybe curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity about frogs.
Okay, there you go. There's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Okay.
Well, and another thing that I was going to say earlier when you were talking about what did I want in somebody, it's kind of the time of the year. I happen to like and know a lot about football, and I know many women are not really that interested. So I'm a bit of an anomaly, and it would be nice if the guy knew about football, so that we could have a conversation. Because even though my team didn't win this year, I'm following the various teams.
So maybe something you want your perfect romantic partner to expect of you when meeting for the first time is to ask some questions about, how do you like football? Do you follow a certain team, or, you have some things around football that you could interact with them on? And that lets them know you're actually interested.
Yeah, and I'm realizing now that I don't. Yeah, right. I think I should put a list together of questions because I go blank.
Ah, there you go. Good one.
Even though, yeah, I kind of go blank, okay. and then I don't want to even work. I don't even want to work through the blankness, right? I go, oh God.
Right.
I don't even want to be bothered.
Right.
I mean, that's not true, but that's what the Matrix is telling me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So there's a couple of things that you brought forth that you can add to your step number 3.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think your microphone slipped down a little bit. It's a little harder to hear you after a minute. Victoria.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Can you're not able to hear me?
I can barely
I can
hear
make
you,
it louder.
At first it was louder.
I can make it. There, I turned it up. Can you hear me better?
No.
I don't know, I'm having such trouble. Here, that's as loud as it goes.
You know what? I'm hearing her just fine, Jan. So I wonder, is there something
Maybe
with
it's
your,
me.
Yeah,
I'm hearing her fine too. And well, and actually, Jan, I'm wondering if you're on your mic on the computer rather than your headset, because you come across very tingy where everybody else is very clear.
Yeah, you are coming across tingy.
Mm-hmm.
But
your headset's probably not on.
But at this point, I didn't want to interrupt you with the flow of it. So
maybe it's time for I probably need a new headset, I would say. All right.
Well, double check just to make sure when you're off this call if it's connected, because
Okay.
the little green lights will light up. There's an audio way you can check.
All right. So let me just, Celeste, you were going to share something. Let me just go ahead and get you. And I'm going to check.
Actually, listening to Victoria really cleared it up for me. But
Okay.
one thing that one thing that you mentioned is dating. You know, how many of you hate dating? I hate dating, and I don't think I want to go out on a date. Though, you know, I put here the things that I want from my partner should expect from me is to be adventurous. Because that's how I want to meet people. Is, you know, through adventures or dancing, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and something that you told Victoria was show up and drop my cloak of invisibility. Because I know that I put that on.
Wow. Yeah. No,
Say that again, Celeste.
Show up and drop my cloak of invisibility.
Okay, I like that.
So yeah, so I kind of make myself invisible sometimes.
Yeah. All right, good. So these are all, you know, it's kind of like what we do for each other is to help each other learn by sharing back and forth. So work with your step number 3 and then bring to the call next time in 2 weeks how you took one thing and turned it around. So like just, you know, building on what Victoria said, you know, if you have, you know, find yourself getting frozen, somebody approaches you to meet for the first time, a way to have that shift is do what she said. 1, have more curiosity about frogs, in this case, you know, a guy, and to have some questions maybe that you prepare ahead of time to think about some things that you might interact with them about. I think that's really great. Any other questions on this part before we move on?
May I add something here?
Of course, sure.
Please do.
And that is that when I looked at making my step 1, when I come to step 3, if I want, what did I put down as an example? Sorry, I meant to have that. You know, I put down that I want her to have a definite interest in me. Well, guess what? In step 3, if that's what I want from her, what do I need to be having in terms of my side? That I would actually want her to expect me to have an interest in her. So sometimes what happens is in step 3, that becomes the opposite of what we actually put down in our step 1.
Right.
So in the same way that I want us to have common interests, well, if I want her to be interested in my going horseback riding, well, I want her to expect me to have an interest in going horseback riding. You know, so there's that connection between step 1 and step 3.
Yeah. Okay. Susan, how are you doing with all of this? Anything
Well,
I can help you with?
seriously, I promise I'm not a quiet person. Step 3 is a little bit confusing to me, so I hadn't just absorbed it in just yet.
Okay.
It specify what I want my partner to expect of me. That's almost, I don't know, it just has not sunk in yet what that exactly means. I haven't gotten enough examples yet for it to just click.
Yes. Well, it's.
So I'm supposed to be talking to Celeste.
I'm glad you said that because it's worded in a particular way that makes you stop and think. Because typically our mind says, I've got to fulfill the expectations of others. Right? We grew up, you know, we have parents. So, our culture says you've got to meet the expectations of what others say you need to meet. This is different from that. This is what I am saying to myself. I want me to bring this to the relationship. In other words,
I want what? Say that one more time.
I want me. I'm talking to myself.
Say that.
I want me to bring this to my relationship. I want it. Here's what I want them to expect me to bring to that relationship. And the only reason that that I say it that way is because it's not because I have to. It's because I want to.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
Okay. Yeah, I have to remember that I want to bring certain things. I mean, I'll give you an example. I remember back in my past relationships, I felt like I was expected to fix every meal. You know, dinner on the table, 6 o'clock, have it all ready, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't like that. I didn't like being expected.
Right.
Even though I like to cook and I like to make meals and I like to put them on the table and all of that, I hated the fact that somebody expected me to do it every day. And so what I really want is that when it works for me, I cook, and when it doesn't, I don't. You know? I don't even like to eat an evening meal, you know? Like, I like to maybe have a little light thing. Sometimes I have an egg and a piece of toast. You know, that's plenty for me. But, so that's, this is kind of like the nature of this step, is that I want to bring certain things. Like, sometimes I can bring cooking a good meal, and sometimes I don't. But I don't want to be expected to have to do that.
Okay.
So this was
Jan,
really about myself.
Victoria.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Victoria.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I think of this third step as holding myself to my highest standard. So like, so I'm not going to use it as a partner, I'm going to use it as a client. So what do I want my client, my perfect client, to expect of me when I don't feel like working, or when I don't feel like, like working on their issue or their stuff? I do it anyway because I really want to support them, and it fits me. It goes back to step 2, which is inspiring myself and others to discover our greatness. And I can't really discover or help them discover their greatness if I don't do the work I'm supposed to do for them. So I look at it as they ask me, what would my perfect client expect of me? And that would be, even if I don't want to work that day, I work anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's helpful.
It is helpful.
But that's kind of how I think about it, because I struggled with this step for many months.
Yeah, so Susan, I think you're getting, just kind of introduced to this newly. So I'm going to open my calendar up next week for some appointments with anybody that needs help in clarifying your plan for yourself. So, maybe you and I can talk further next week.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm going to do, we're coming to the close of our call. There's still 2 more steps, but I think we've covered enough right now for you to be dangerous. And so, so to speak, what I really want you to do is focus on your first 3 steps of the plan to get what you really want going on your plan. And the way you're going to do this is your assignment for the next 2 weeks, is I like what Victoria said, be more curious. I'd like you to have the curiosity of a child. You know how curious kids are.
I'm not understanding you, Jan.
Somebody needs to mute. Yeah, somebody needs to mute. There's background noise, kids.
Okay, let me just mute.
Thank you.
All right, everybody's muted. Right. Susan, I'm muting you because you're on.
Okay, what I got was work first 3 plans.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so work your first 3 steps and develop the curiosity of a child. Let go of everything that you have said about relationship in the past, including all the negatives, all the things that didn't work, the disappointments. I need you to bring fresh creative beginner's mind to this, as if this was the first time, the first relationship you've ever had. I want you to gold for the gold in step 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to bring the clarity that you need to start attracting what you really want. So is everybody willing to really play full out in that over the next 2 weeks? Say, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the,
Yes.
this is like building building something new, building a relationship with ourselves for the first time. And that's what we need to do, is allow ourselves to do this. All right. So over the next week, I have been going to a different scheduler, which I use for appointments, and I will send you a link to my schedule in the next day or so. I have to learn how to use it, is the delay. But next week, I have lots of openings on my schedule for a laser coaching call with everybody here, 1 at a time. And that's included at no charge to everyone here for your class. And I can help you to refine your attraction plan. So if you'll start working on it when we come to your laser coaching session, we can work through issues, challenges, any specifics that you need help with. Okay? That's my promise to you, that I'll have that to you in the next couple of weeks. All right, so I know we covered a lot of material, but I want to just check in with you and see what was the most valuable thing you got out of being here today. What nugget or pearl are you taking home with you that made a difference for you?
Being curious.
Being curious. Nice.
Yeah.
Letting myself be seen and engage with men when they're in the room, which I got from when you were working with Victoria. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm like that too. So
yeah,
that made a big difference for me.
Right. Okay, good. Anybody else? What did you get out of being
Yes, the concept of bringing to the relationship what you think is missing.
Beautiful.
I think this is big, because you see this is not happening, or this other thing is not happening, but do I do something to make it happen, or do I bring this into the relationship? So for me, the big assignment is to bring whatever I see is not there.
Okay, good. Very nice. Who else?
Jan, I haven't got anything specific, but it's all been wonderful. So I feel like I've learned a lot.
Okay.
And I feel like that I'm going to work on this, and I'll have a lot more to say maybe the next time.
Okay. No, you're in the process. I get that completely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Anybody
I look
else?
forward to the one-on-one with you.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll get into the nitty-gritty for you then. Okay. How about you, Celeste? What was valuable for you?
Having a beginner's mind. Let go of all that past stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We always need to be reminded of that. Yeah. And Carrie Bell, how about you?
Connection. Connecting with Celeste and Victoria and Christina, and meeting Deborah and Susan. And actually the curiosity, which we can take offline, But I'd like to know how you felt about having a man in the room as you were talking. Did that hold you back or not?
No.
No.
I got
No.
shakes
Not
of
at
head
all.
from everybody, so
Not at
No.
all.
I'm glad with that. So,
Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah, but Carrie, I know you.
well, I get
True.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you. Some of the other ladies don't, but so that makes a difference.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm doing the relationship course with a group from Mexico, as you know, Jan. And there's
Yes.
only one guy in the class, and it's like maybe 8 or 9 women, and it's wonderful to have him around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always great. Always great. All right. Well, thank you everybody for playing, and I look forward to speaking with you one-on-one next week, hopefully. And we'll see you on January 31st for the class number 2. All right. Bye for now. Start attracting. Have some fun. Come back with some big wins to report in our next call. All right. Love you lots.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.